What's up, everybody? We are gathered here today to talk about your crypto strategy. And I posted the other day that I feel a moral obligation to make sure that people are looking at what's going on in crypto. Now, if you look at crypto and decide that it is not for you, that it's absolutely stupid, I am totally fine with that. No beef whatsoever. But I really believe that there is something that is a once in 100 years kind of wealth transfer happening right now. And it is the first time in history when the average person gets a chance to front run the institutions. So I honestly don't know why people aren't rioting in the streets over what's called becoming a accredited investor. So this is like when people talk about the rich get richer, that's what they're talking about, because the vast majority of the economic value of the creation of a company happens behind the scenes with only accredited investors. And they will, get the early buy-in at a really cheap valuation, and then they finally take the company into an IPO. And once they go IPO, then that's where the money was made. And then it's, the average investor only gets to make money post IPO. And that doesn't mean that there isn't money to be made there. There is. But just getting you guys to understand that the real, problem with the financial game is that most people don't get to enter that game until after the vast majority of the wealth has already been taken off the table. So that's what has me so fiendish about crypto. And I'm sure when people saw my name going live, they were like, mindset. And I feel your pain. But today we are talking crypto because I want to make sure that everybody is researching it. I'm not telling you what to buy. I am simply saying research it. I think that there is something massive happening right now. I think that there is a tectonic shift happening in the economic world. And to miss this opportunity out of blindness is unforgivable for yourself. To miss this opportunity because you looked at it and you read it and say, nope, I don't buy it. I don't think it's going anywhere good. You may be right. And so following your belief post-research, I think, is the right move, because nobody can read the future. And it is absolutely possible that my thesis ends up being absolutely bunk. But I legitimately feel a compulsion to make sure that everybody's looking at this, to the point where I went to my family and I said, look, I will give you the money. The only condition is you must go open a wallet and you must buy a blue chip coin. Don't go into altcoins. I'm not shitting on altcoins if that's your thing. I'm just saying start with the blue chip stuff that I think really, really could be important. And if anybody wants to know where to start your journey, I would go to hope.com. And you can also so hope.com is a website put together around specifically Bitcoin, and by a guy named Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor, I find, he thinks from first principles. I did an interview with him, so you can actually find an episode. It was a Conversations with Tom episode, but on my normal YouTube channel, you can find that episode where we go through the basics of why he considers Bitcoin hope, what his thoughts are on why Bitcoin is taken off. So anyway, again, this is all just to say, do research. You need to not be blind to this, because this is, I think, going to be the single biggest economic opportunity of any of our lifetimes. And I'm saying all of this railing against the whole notion of being an accredited investor. I am an accredited investor. So it behooves me. It would make me richer to keep everybody else out, but that's just not how I'm wired. So doing all of this, this being stepping in front of the camera 6 years ago and deciding to build another business after exiting Quest. Remember, it was $1 billion sale. I never needed to work again. So the only reason that I'm doing this is because I really do feel a moral obligation to get people to research. Again, that's all I'm looking for. Just do the research. It's just so fucking big. It's so important. All right, with that, now I'm going to start taking your questions. I am going to be, for today, skipping mindset questions. So I'm looking for things that people want to talk about with crypto specifically. So let's see. Be a little more thoughtful. Normally I just sort of Russian roulette, spin this around. Okay, so we've got a question here from Dwayne Schreiner. Where do you start? I've been looking to get in, but I can't seem to get it. Okay, so there's a couple things hiding in your question. So one is the get it question, that you're not confident in it as an asset class. Now, if you've looked at it and don't think it makes sense, then cool, you've got your answer. If you're looking at it and you're confused, then there's really two people that I would start with. Michael Saylor, and you can literally just drop his name into YouTube. Or you can go to hope.com, which is his website. I'm not affiliated with it in any way, shape, or form. I get absolutely nothing by you going to hope.com, so I'm not shilling a bag or anything here. But go there. And the other person is Raoul Paul. So Raoul, and then his last name is Pal. So Raoul Paul. His company is Real Vision. Again, you can just drop his name into YouTube. I also did an interview with him, but I'm actually not sure if that interview has dropped yet. Don't think it has. But there's a ton of amazing interviews of him, so I highly encourage you guys to go check that out. That's where I'd start. Okay, cool. Great question. Next up, let's see what we've got here. Okay, why is now a good time to invest? I feel like it's too late. Okay, so again, you need to do your own research. Maybe it is too late. I will explain why I think it's obscenely early and why I think that this is going to be a place where you're going to want to put an amount of money that you're prepared to lose. I want to be very clear that any investing is risky as fuck. But here's a fascinating true statement about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the fastest adopted technology in human history. So never before has any technology, not the phone, not electricity, not mobile, not the internet, nothing has ever been adopted by more people faster than Bitcoin. So now when you think, what are we at? I think the last number I saw was 2%. So if 2% of the world has gone in, and the current valuation of Bitcoin, I think, is somewhere around $1 trillion, maybe a little bit over. What is it? Will we hit 5%? Will we hit 10%? Will we hit 20%? I personally don't think it's going to stall out at 2%. And unfortunately, the U.S. government compels me to say this is not financial advice. You must do your own research. But what is happening? So I have a mantra in my life. Don't think about things. Think about the nature of things. When you think about things, all you can hope to do is copy because you don't actually understand what they are. You're at the surface level. When you think about the nature of things, you can solve novel problems because you actually understand from first principles how they work. So look at Bitcoin from first principles. And here is the first principles notion that the world is digitizing everything. So music was digitized. Movies have been digitized. Money has been digitized in the form of Ethereum. And before that, it was digitized. When people say we're printing money, we're not actually printing money. We're adding zeros and ones to a database, an online database somewhere. Okay, so much of the economy has been digital for a long time. And what Bitcoin specifically is digitizing a store of value. So think of it as wealth essentially being digitized. And so what gold allows you to do in the physical world is we take this thing that's very rare, and it's very rare because when stars explode, they emit gold. It literally flies through empty space and ultimately collides with the planet. And when it collides with the planet, it gets embedded in the sedimentary layer, and you can literally go hammer and chisel and find fucking gold, okay? And that's what makes it rare. We don't really do anything with gold. We don't pay in gold. You make some jewelry and things like that. But really, gold is just a thing that we all agree has value because it's so rare, right? It requires the explosion of a star to create more of it. But it does deflate by about 2% a year because people go and mine it. So now with the digitization of that same mechanism, right? Something I can buy that doesn't deflate away, at least not very quickly. That was the idea behind creating Bitcoin, which is capped at 21 million units. So it's like saying the amount of gold that's ever going to be mined is X. It will never go up more than that. So if you have one Bitcoin, you have one of the 21 million coins that will ever be mined. Now, the great news is that you can get a fraction of that. So you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. But if the world agrees that it's valuable, and that's an if, who knows, right? Maybe we agree today it has value and maybe tomorrow we don't. The same thing can happen to the US dollar. So as Yuval Noah Harari would say, money is a fiction that we all believe in. And the same is true of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a fiction that we all agree has value. As of right now, we agree that it has value, substantial value. And I will get to the point about why it's not too early. Don't worry, I haven't lost sight of that, but I have to lay the groundwork. So you've got this thing, only 21 million units of it are ever going to be made. And now, once people want that thing, and it is provably scarce, now having some of it will go up in value as more people want it. So let's say that right now 2% of people own some Bitcoin worldwide, and that ultimately 36%, I am totally making that number up. I am making that up. But let's say that 36% of people at the peak will one day want that asset. You can see that if you buy in when 2% of the world has it, and we're in a pretend scenario going to get to 36%, that's a pretty big delta when only 21 million units are ever going to exist, period, full stop. So that means that the ones that do exist become more valuable over time as more people want in. And if that's true, then it becomes a great way for you to store your wealth and not have the wealth go down through inflation. So inflation has been called many things: the invisible tax, the way that basically the government steals money. I'm not saying I'm saying that. I'm just saying that is how it has been referred to. And you need somewhere to park your money, and that it won't go down in value over time. And that's basically what the financial markets are. It's people trying to find a way to get the value of their money to go up over time, or at least break even. And depending on where you put the interest or the inflation rate, the sort of historical is 2%. Some people say that right now we're in hyperinflation, and that in reality, assets as a class, and I know we're getting into a lot of confusing shit here, but assets as a class, while your Netflix isn't going up, your Domino's isn't going up, and maybe that's all you care about, and then we're good. But if you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, you want to pay for education, then those things are getting really expensive. So your dollar now buys a lot less, and that's inflation. Just where the same number of dollars buys less shit, less things that you want. That's an important way to think about it. Okay, so that's why Bitcoin, that's why I think that it's going to go up in value. And because I think it's going to go up in value, even though we all would be happier if we had bought when Bitcoin was like $1.50. The reality is it's about return on your investment. So you're not going to get the same returns as the person who was smart enough to buy when it was $1.50. But if you buy in today, the price is somewhere around, I think, $48,000. I actually haven't checked it today. So just in case we've gone on some crazy fall or crazy rise, it could be a little bit off, but we'll ballpark it at 50,000. So if it's at 50,000, and we double in value, and it goes to 100,000, which you will hear many credible people, because remember, we all have to do our own research, we all have to make our own decisions, but there are plenty of credible people who think that it will go to $100,000. There's people that think it'll go way higher than that, but let's be nice and conservative and say it's at 50,000 today, and we think that it will, over the next 5 years, go to 100,000. Okay, well, cool. Now it's a way for you to double your money. On the stock market, a huge return would be 10%. So if you can get 100% return, that's insane. That's astronomical. And if you can do that in 5 or 10 years, you're laughing. So now you have to be very thoughtful, because it could also go to zero. And so you never want to invest more money than you can afford to lose. I think that's a very wise way to approach it. But if you can do what I call, and this is what I do, right? So I have a lot of money, and I still do this because I can't guarantee myself that I'm right. I think I'm right, but how do I know I'm right, as Ray Dalio says? So I hedge my bets, I protect my downside. So I'm investing the exact number of dollars that I'm prepared to still lose, and I do it through something that's called dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging says, I think today's a good price to buy in, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if tomorrow it will go up in value or it will go down in value. So then people just don't buy, right? Because they think, well, if it goes down in value, then I'm better off waiting till tomorrow. But then when you wait till tomorrow and the price went up, now you feel doubly bad because you're like, well, damn, if I'd bought in yesterday, it would have been even cheaper. So now you just feel behind the eight ball. So the way to think of it is, if my thesis is correct and that this is going to go to $100,000, then it makes sense for me to buy in at any price below $100,000. So I'm like, whoa, I believe my thesis, right? I don't know, there are no guarantees, but my thesis is, secretly I have a thesis that it's going to go a lot higher. But in this pretend scenario, my thesis is that it's going to $100,000. Okay, amazing. Price today is $50,000. Buy a little bit today because tomorrow it might go down. And so we don't want to spend all the money that we can spend. Like if, let's say we earmark, we're going to spend $2,000 investing into Bitcoin. If you invest all $2,000 on day one and then tomorrow the price goes down, you're bummed out, right? Because now you could have bought in at a cheaper rate. So what you do is you say, okay, I'm going to buy, let's say, I'm going to buy $50 a day every day until I hit my max. And so now, as that volatility goes up and down, some days you buy on the downside. And what I may say is, okay, $50,000 is my benchmark. So I'm going to buy in $50 a day. And, maybe tomorrow the price is $51,000. Maybe the next day it's $52,000. And so each day I'm just buying in at $50. Let's say on day 36, it drops down to $48,000. I think, whoa, now I'm going to buy $100 in one day. I'm still not going to spend all my money because the next day it could go to 46. And the game you start playing is to get the average price at which you bought in as low as possible. So you're not thinking about your money going up, up, up. You're ignoring all that temporary volatility because you're doing this as a long-term asset class hold. And so I'm not advising day trading or flipping. I haven't sold a single Satoshi, as they're called. So that's a fraction of a Bitcoin. I haven't sold a single Satoshi. So I've only accumulated Bitcoin. I haven't sold anything. So that is the sort of slow and steady wins the race, nice and safe, ignoring the volatility, knowing that you're going to hold for years, that this is not, you don't have to worry if you lose, and this has happened, 80% of your value because you only lock in that loss if you sell. If you don't sell, one Bitcoin today is worth 50,000. Maybe tomorrow it's worth 10,000. You're panicking, but I would be ecstatic because my thesis is this is going to 100,000. So if I can get it for $10,000, I'm going to buy more at that price because that's better than when I was buying at 50,000. And I know I may have to wait 5 or 6 years for that to get to 100,000. But when it does, I'm laughing all the way to the bank because now I've bought in at 10,000 and it goes all the way to 100,000. And so now I've got this huge delta between the two. Okay, that was a very slow and steady explanation of why I think that we're early, but we're early. So, and I've seen a couple times this come by saying, can I save this? I will save it. I'll make sure that we post it somewhere. And just so you guys know, I'm going to be talking a lot more about Bitcoin and Ethereum and NFTs. We have about 7 months ago, we pivoted the way that we're executing the same philosophy. So you guys know I'm trying to build the next Disney. I think storytelling is the way to spread an empowering mindset. And 7 months ago, when I got introduced to NFTs, I realized, whoa, this is going to change the world fundamentally. And the way that it changes it, and this is so important for you guys to understand, the vast majority of NFTs are going to go to zero. But when you find a community that you believe in, a singer that you believe in, a film that you believe in, an NFT project that you believe in, whatever, you believe in that thing and you want to support that thing, think of it as Kickstarter with rewards for you, where not only do you get the product, but if it goes up in value, you also get to reap that value. And it's a fundamental paradigm shift. So if you go look at it today, you're going to say something like, Tom, this is dumb. I'm watching people pay millions of dollars, which is actually true, for a JPEG. And why on earth would I ever do that? And the answer is that, one, maybe you will never pay millions of dollars. Maybe you will. I'm certainly not knocking it. But what you're paying for is a project that you believe in. And now there's going to be a couple ways for you to get value from that project. So think about you went to watch Star Wars, let's say. You paid money to watch Star Wars and Disney got all the money and you got entertained, which is amazing. But now imagine if instead of buying a ticket to see the movie, you bought an image of your favorite Star Wars character. That's an NFT and it lives on the blockchain. And for anybody that doesn't know what an NFT is, it has a very confusing name, but it's ultimately a very simple idea. It stands for non-fungible token. It just means it has unique value. Now you own that. So you buy this ticket that's an image of your favorite Star Wars character, but you actually own it. So you own that piece of art. But if Disney's smart, and let me tell you, impact theory is certainly going to be smart, so keep your eyes peeled for our NFTs, that you keep that, and in the future, I'm going to say, hey, everybody, the next Star Wars is going to be completely sold out. It's going to be really hard to get tickets. But I'm going to give you, dear holder of that NFT, which remember is an image of your favorite Star Wars character and got you in to see the first movie, so you already feel that you got your money's worth. But now on top of that, I'm going to give whoever holds that image the ability to go buy an early ticket to the next movie. And this is but one example. So now let's say you're like, well, my kids are older now, or I don't really care about Star Wars anymore, so I'm not going to go see that. But you can sell that thing that gives people access. So some people are going to say, yo, I'll spend $100 for that. I'll spend $1,000 for that. And let's say you spent $20 to buy it. Now, all of a sudden, unlike any other time in human history, you now have this thing that you own. Disney does not own it. You own it. And you can sell it. And by selling it, the next person that buys it now gets access to that early purchase of the ticket. And when companies get behind their NFTs and use them as things like keys, rewards programs, things like that, and you own it, so as that value goes up for somebody, you can sell it. Now, you're going to think I'm lying. I promise you the words that are about to come out of my mouth are absolutely true. One of my employees bought an NFT recently. Remember, the vast majority of NFTs are going to go to zero. So you have to be extraordinarily careful. I'm telling you the story I'm about to tell you only so that you will go research, because what this story illustrates is important. The dollar amounts that I'm going to tell you, I hope they excite you so that you will go learn. But you have to be extraordinarily careful, because I cannot think of a riskier, if you're approaching it like an investment, I actually can't think of anything riskier. This is super risky. But one of my employees bought, what did he buy? 3 or 4 NFTs off of a recent drop. This is in the last few weeks. And that NFT just ended up being very, very popular. And so he bought it probably for about $250 each. So he spent, call it $1,000. And he could sell it today for $100,000. That's how much it went up, because that's how much people value the community. That's how much they value, the utility of these things. And so again, the vast majority of these are going to go to zero. So you need to invest in projects where you care about the thing in that project. You care about what you get from that project. But guys, it is absolutely thrilling what's happening, because it's rewarding the everyday person. So I hope that you guys will go research. The only thing I'm saying is research. Go research. Go look at this stuff. It's so important because of the way that it's going to shift things. I'll give you one more example of just how it's going to change economies. There's an artist named Bilyeu. Bilyeu is launching a site called royal.io. I think it's .io. And what that's going to allow people to do is spot a new song that they like, and you can then buy that. Think of it as an NFT. So maybe they make 1,000 copies of that song. I don't know exactly how that will work, but by owning it, you now get royalties on that song. So imagine if you found Lil Nas X before he blew up, and you bought what was the song, Old Town Road, and you had that 2 months before it went parabolic, and then you end up getting royalties. So you got to support him when nobody else was supporting him, and then as that song blows up and becomes popular, you're going to reap benefits for that. So now being a tastemaker isn't just about getting followers on your Spotify playlist. It's about actually owning the songs on your Spotify playlist. So imagine you build yourself up on Spotify as an influencer, somebody that people listen to that's a tastemaker, or you're a DJ and people like to listen to your shit, and you go buy the fucking songs that you're going to promote, and you then go promote them, people listen to you, and now you actually reap the rewards for being a tastemaker. Do you see how that fucking changes everything? That is going to pervade everything. It's going to pervade the comics that I put out, the TV shows that I put out. It's going to impact people to buy tickets to my live shows. It's going to impact musicians and what they're putting out. It's going to fucking decimate the traditional means of getting content on a Netflix or whatever. It's going to put ownership in the hands of the fans. This is going to change people's lives. I can't stress it enough. Like, this shit, it is going to be the ride of your life. Take it slow. Learn about it. Find things you like. Only ever invest what you can lose. And have fun. Don't treat it like a gambler, okay? Don't treat it like a gambler. Don't treat it like a gambler. Have a thesis. Have something you're excited about. Only play with money you're prepared to lose. And then remember, don't think about things. Think about the nature of things. And the nature of NFTs, it is a technology. It is a technology. And it's a technology that allows the average person to own things that they wouldn't previously have been able to own. And so now your fandom can be translated into either just participation, right? If the NFT never catches on, or it's just a niche community or whatever, but you might have wanted to support them anyway, or have been willing to buy, a Funko Pop of it. Now, instead of buying a Funko Pop, you buy an NFT, and that NFT unlocks things for you, has value down the road. You can resell it. Anyway, what's going on right now is utterly transformational. It truly is a paradigm shift, as Cottonwood Coffee just said. Where can you find NFTs? I would start at OpenSea.io, and that's open sea as an ocean. Take your time and really learn about it first. Learn about it first. But guys, this is going to change everything. And the people that understand it the fastest and get involved in whatever way, and maybe you're a creator, maybe you should be creating NFTs. It's going to be a game changer. And I'll leave you with one note for all the creators in the crowd. There is a project called Bored Ape Yacht Club, and they did an airdrop to all of the people that own a Bored Ape. Now, if you had bought a Bored Ape when it first came out, it would not have been very expensive, maybe a few $100s. And now, if you got one of the airdrops, so you got it for free. You paid your couple $100s to buy the Bored Ape. You believed in the project. You held on to it. You didn't sell as the price was going up, because the price has gone up tremendously. The cheapest, what they call the floor ape, now is about, 25 or 26 ETH? So, no, it's higher than that. I think it's almost 40 ETH. So ETH right now is like $3,400 or something like that. So do the math, times 40 ETH times $3,400 tells you how much they went up in price. But they also did these airdrops. 20% of the airdrops were worth, I think, $50,000. You could have sold it right then, right there for $50,000. So you bought something for $250, and whatever, 4 months later, they gave you something for free that you could turn around and sell for $50,000. It's fucking crazy. Like, it is, what's going on is a revolution. It's a revolution. So get in there, learn, have fun, never, ever, ever spend $1 more than you can afford to lose. I just cannot stress that enough. That's critically important. But so one final note on the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So when they did that new release, which was just a couple days ago, as the creators, so again, talking to you creators out there, and never be in it for the money. Hopefully I've put out enough content that people know I'm not encouraging people to do things for the money. But you can see what the world values when you see what they pay for. The Bored Ape Yacht Club, by launching the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, made $96 million in an hour. There it is. All right, I'll be back on to talk more. I have another thing that I have to go do right now, but I'm going to be talking about this a lot. And it's bored, as in I'm bored. There's nothing fun to do. Ape, as in monkey. Yacht, as in boat. Club, as in we're all in the club together. So Corey, Fetcher, just let everybody know. Bored Ape Yacht Club. There it is. All right, guys, do the research. That's all I'm asking. All right, much love to everybody out there. You guys are amazing, and I'm here to serve. So I will see you soon. All right, peace.